Hi, welcome to Beautiful Homes. Today we find ourselves at Mrs. Girija and Y.K. Sinha's home, who is the Consul General of India. You're going to be impressed with the beautiful fusion of Arabic and Indian that you'll find all over their house. To start with, on the outside. Hello, thank you so much for welcoming us in your beautiful home. How are you doing?
Good, very good.
Thank you, you're welcome.
What are you more inclined towards in terms of your taste in the home? What do you like to see mostly?
Oh, well, one thing that I really value is space, and open space.
Yeah.
And we've been fortunate with this house because we've got, it's an open plan house, especially on the ground floor, you see.
Yeah.
And it's a great area to entertain because we need to do that as part of our diplomatic obligations. So we've got a reasonably big size garden and an open plan house in what we call the representational area. So that's was actually foremost in my mind when we were looking for a place.
It's functionality.
Absolutely.
And you entertain mostly in the yard because you've got quite a beautiful yard.
We do that.
When the weather permits, yeah.
And what are some of the stuff that you've picked up and you have a particular affinity to that make your house a home?
I'm a collector, I'm horrible. In fact, I think I've reached that stage when I realized I have to stop. I think my passion is carpets. I love carpets. I started collecting them way back. Ganeshas, I have over 100 Ganeshas. I collect those. Paintings, all sorts of things. I mean, you name it. I used to be very into cut glass earlier, but after I lost quite a bit of it, moving from one place to the other, I've given that up. And silver. I like to collect silver.
Like you mentioned, because you move house so often, your interests probably reflect that kind of lifestyle. You wouldn't really be interested in stuff that's too fragile that you can't keep moving. And maybe you're flexible with your tastes as well because you really have to be accepting of whatever comes to you.
And it's always nice to imbibe some of the culture and, the country that you're living in.
I can see there's a lot of Arabic-Indian fusion here. The structure is very Arabic influenced.
Yeah, and actually if you see the way the house is constructed, it's all old cultures. In India also, what we call the old Havelis also have, the basic layout is a lot like this. So it actually wasn't that difficult to, put it all together.
Looking through your house, it was hard for me to find the exact line, the difference between the Arabic influence and the Indian influence as well.
Yeah, you're right, because as far as the two cultures go, there's so much similarities. Yeah. We've sort of known each other for centuries, and there's been this cross-fertilization of culture and contacts and trade. So there is so much similarity. For instance, I'll give you an example. I mean, the Bedouin culture here, I'm talking about the old culture here, and what is in India, in the desert area or in northern India especially, it's quite similar. Even some of the jewelry that you wear here, or the old people wear here, or the people previous generations, and what's available in India is so similar. Yeah. Probably, sort of traders going back and forth. Yeah. Along the Arabian Sea, carried it and it's become part of both cultures. So even this house, for instance, you see there is, and that's why the Arabian-Indian fusion is much easier than, say, a Western Indian or a Western Arabian fusion.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, the line is very thin, as you're saying. They're very symbiotic, and I think they've exchanged quite a few influences. Even some of the artifacts that you've picked up, some of them are very obviously Indian, but some of them are just the gates, the doors. I thought maybe it was Arabic, but I was told actually it's Indian.
That's Indian, yes. I do most of my shopping in India because, as a representative of the Indian government, you try to be more Indian.
What are some of your favorite pieces in the house?
Oh, there's plenty. I can take you around and show you.
I'm looking forward to that. And what room is your favorite and you spend the most time in?
Actually, what I call my playroom upstairs. It has, there's one portion that's TV room, then there's exercise area, and then there's library.
All the three things that you like. So tell us a little bit about the structure of the house, the outside. Any influences?
I think it's a typically Arab, Gulf Arab house. We call it the Bastaki house, the Bastakia, not because it belongs to the Bastakis, but also the Bastakia style of architecture, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I think struck us. My wife, she's the one who actually discovered this house, because we were house hunting for quite some time.
And what would you call this room?
This room is my love. You know, I put in a lot of love into doing this room. Now, as you see, it's a very typically traditional sort of Arab-style house.
Very much so.
But as we said earlier, you know, the old traditional Arab-style house is also very similar to the old Indian house.
Yeah.
So what we did here was that this is an old door.
Yeah, you made it as
It's
a
an
table.
old door. It's
Beautiful.
from India, and we had legs put to it.
Nice.
And it's a table. That is actually the entrance to a house. If you see, the house number is still
No.
it's there, and then the chain to sort of secure the
And
door.
you've turned it into a showcase?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this. This
Yeah,
is a
this
very
actually
heavy piece.
opens up, and you can keep linen in it. You know, it's like you have the
Yes.
old linen chests everywhere in the world.
Yes,
you know.
yes.
So this is one of those.
And these have significance in palaces, am I correct?
You know, this is something very common and new and trendy in India at the moment.
Okay.
These are from Bombay, and I think the paintings in the frames become pretty inconsequential because it's the frame that really matters.
Okay.
So these were picked up in Bombay.
And this is where'd you pick this one up
This
from?
is a Nandi bull.
does that mean?
It's a bull. This was Lord Shiva's ride. I mean, he always, whenever you saw Lord Shiva, the bull was with him. So that
This is a piece from India. We picked
It's
it
an
up,
old piece from
very old
India.
piece from India. Yeah.
Are most of the pieces here in this particular room from India?
Yes. Yeah.
Not all, but most.
And what about the crystals? Where
The
did you pick
crystal
them
is,
up?
I mean, all over the place.
And what would you call this room?
But this is more the morning sort of seating area because as you see, there's a lot of light coming into this room.
And these tables?
This is the Taj Mahal. Well, like the Taj Mahal, it's marble with inlay work. And you see these flowers, these intricate designs. If you go to the Taj Mahal, you'll see them on the walls, on the pillars, on the side. So it's actually India. It's marble and it's very heavy.
And the pieces that are on top, these things here?
This is all silver from India, different vintages, some old, some not so old.
This is from India?
Yes.
You know,
It's
they have something, an Islamic
Yeah.
piece.
It's a scroll holder.
Exactly.
A
It's the
scroll
same.
holder.
See, it's very difficult to define the difference
Yeah.
because the other one has just got a pointed end, and that's very Islamic. It's a scroll holder.
Yeah.
What else do you have here? This
Bull is actually you see, an imitation of a Murano bull.
From Pakistan.
Yeah.
This is onyx. It's very heavy. Now this piece belonged to my grandfather. He got it in 1935.
The sitting arrangement, this one is Indian.
and you've got your bonsai. It's a sign of good luck.
Yeah.
On to the next room. Well, this room is hard to mistake it for anything else other than a majlis.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, here what I did was I chose fabric to, you know, make these cushions to match the light
Okay.
and the stained glass in the windows.
This is obviously the dining room. I think one of the most challenging things might have been finding a place this big to
Yes.
sit. How
to
many people can
accommodate
sit?
this dining
18
room.
people, that's why it took us so long to find a house that had a big enough dining area. And that this is just fine, this is fine. But to get a room this big was very difficult. I don't know how many villas we saw, what, 40, 50 villas.
There's not too many that are going to host 18.
Yeah.
And space.
Space.
And near the kitchen and
Yeah.
inside the house.
Yeah.
We didn't want a separate majlis outside, we wanted to
Right.
have a dining area.
Yeah.
It had to be inside the house. It's challenging, I'm glad we found it.
This is a beautiful chest right here. What do you call it? Where did you get it from?
It's an old piece. It's bought locally.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. And these paintings, I feel like I've seen them before. Where would I have seen them?
This painter is actually a woman called Sangeet Gandhi from Delhi.
Okay.
In fact, she's done these and then she's done some little etching cum paintings on wood, you know, which are on that wall
Okay.
over there.
It's very three-dimensional because they're
Yes.
actually, the images are coming out at you.
Yeah.
Etched out into the, I mean, you can actually, you're right, they're three-dimensional in that sense. And the colors are so vivid.
Beautiful. You've got a bit of a mosaic going on in the dining room as well with the table, the door rather. has also probably been inlaid with some mosaic colors.
That mosaic there and here, they're all from India.
Oh, those.
The shells and things.
It's rose granite.
Well, we have something here from Pakistan, the trolley.
This is very Indian.
The Buddha?
Head.
That's the Buddha head.
Now this is a grand space. Do you do a lot of your hosting in this area?
Yeah, now that the weather has improved, yes.
This is quite ideal. How often do you use the pool?
Well, when it was hotter, every day.
Really?
Now that it's cooled down, not
so
that
often.
much.
What do you usually host back here?
We just had a big party last week,
Okay.
and there were people here. They were sort of hanging around here and outside of the garden. There were sort of drink corners and food tables.
And we had dancers from India, and if you notice, this is a natural
Like perfect stage.
So
we
there were 20 guys actually performing here.
Well, we know you've made it clear that it's a room that's a work in progress, but do you mind if we take a sneak peek at the work in progress?
Sure.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So as I told you, we're still doing up this room. So this area is going to be the library. Need to
Okay.
get in more bookshelves and stuff.
But I totally understand why it's the room that you spend most of your time in.
Yeah, it's large, it's spacious.
And I like the white. It's very airy and it's very relaxing.
And then I'm the exercise person, so I have my little elliptical runner and I have my weights and my yoga mat.
Good for you. Now, something that catches my eye right away, which I've definitely seen before, are the cushions.
Those are from Cairo.
This is also another three-dimensional piece that you
This
have.
is from Africa.
You see the map of Africa. It's like the torso, but it's actually the map of Africa.
And this is the family room. Obviously, you've
Yeah.
got tons of family portraits.
Yes. And I have my bridge trophies. I forgot
Let's
to show
see.
them to you downstairs.
Let's see them.
I have a whole bunch of them
I didn't know you were a
downstairs
bridge
as well.
fan.
I am. Those are all my bridge cups.
This is the place, this is the house which my parents lived in
Wow.
when we got married. And it's up in the Himalayas,
In
in
Simla.
Shimla, in a place called Shimla. It's the height of about 7,500 feet.
And I like these little mini-me chairs.
Well, they're sort of, you see, they're sort of snug in at the sides, at the corners.
My favorite is those long round couches. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I love those. I love them. What about these paintings behind?
The miniatures,
Yeah.
Mughal time paintings, Rajasthan, Mughal time, that time.
detailed.
Yeah.
Very detailed.
Yeah.
Well,
I told you about those bars. You've got a whole lot of them here.
I love the feel. It must be a feng shui thing, but I love the feel of the wood with everything. This is beautiful. You get a great view of the foyer and the entire house.
This is typically local Emirati sort of thing. It's done, really adds character to this house.
And tell me a little bit about that.
It's an antique piece, and we actually had to get scaffolding to put it up there because it's, you know, it's pretty high.
Yeah. Anything about these pieces? This piece right here? That's a
This
huge
is French.
piece.
It's French tapestry.
France. Yeah, this is French tapestry. It's not.
Totally looks French. Well, that was a beautiful tour of your home. I'm impressed, and I hope this won't be the last time I'm invited.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I can assure you, this will not be your last. Your
Thank
first,
you.
but not your last.
Thank you so much. Well, there you have it. A truly beautiful home. An international couple in an international house. Thanks for watching Beautiful Homes. See you next time.